The clinical definition of codependency often focuses on internal psychological mechanisms, the fear of abandonment, the compulsion to rescue, the blurring of boundaries. However, this individualistic approach overlooks a crucial dimension: the transmission of dysfunctional relational patterns across generations. We must differentiate between intrinsic codependency, arising from deeply rooted personal trauma, and extrinsic enabling, a learned behavioral repertoire acquired within a dysfunctional family system. Inherited enabling is not simply a matter of mimicking behaviors, it's a form of societal programming. Children raised in environments marked by addiction, mental illness, or systemic abuse were not merely witnesses to dysfunction, they were active participants in its perpetuation. They learned that their emotional survival depends on anticipating and managing the needs of others, even at the expense of their own. This becomes a conditioned response, a reflex developed for self-preservation within a chaotic system. This distinction is vital because it challenges the notion that codependency is solely a matter of individual pathology. It reveals the role of systemic forces, familial legacies, and cultural norms in shaping our relational patterns. Individuals raised within these systems may exhibit codependent behaviors, but their actions are not necessarily driven by the same internal motivations as those with intrinsic codependency. They are acting out a learned script, a survival strategy honed in the crucible of dysfunction. Therefore, therapeutic interventions or even your own personal shadow work must acknowledge this distinction. While traditional approaches may address the symptoms of codependency, they may fail to address the underlying environmental conditioning. Recognizing inherited enabling allows for a more nuanced understanding of relational dysfunction, one that acknowledges the complex interplay between individual psychology and systemic forces. It allows us to recognize that sometimes what we have is not a codependent person, but a person that has been trained to enable, and that is a very different wound. That is a very different path to healing.